Hello, welcome back to Today is Booked. It's your host Shelly back with co-host Whitley, and we are doing Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I'm so freaking excited.
This book is just everything.
Top notch.
It's literally everything for me.
A banger. I'm just coming out with the words.
A dark romance that you just want to
Well, actually, I was going to be like, put me in it, but never mind. I don't want to be in it, actually.
Serial killer killing people. Just accidentally eating semen ice cream.
Okay. That's so funny because I almost got ice cream at Sprouts today, and then I was like, nah.
More to come on the ice cream. Get it? Come on the ice cream.
Before we dive into the episode of Butcher and Blackbird, you already know what we're about to do. Whitley, what have you been booked with?
Oh my God, dude. Work has been insane. So we've had this major project and our customers are just honestly, I hope they're listening because they're the fucking worst. Anyways, they suck. But it's basically like in the clear now. So work has been insane. Jesse's birthday was this past weekend, so all his birthday festivities with his friends. Boys are just, guys are gross and dirty. And so Jesse is a part owner in a barcade that literally just opened up today. So they had their softer openings Thursday, Friday, and then they opened today. So I've been after work rushing over there and freaking doing my due diligence of being an extrovert when I just want to be reading Onyx Storm, and I just finished Onyx Storm, as you know. So I'm just, my brain is literally everywhere. So I don't even know what I've been booked with, but everything and not everything. Actually, everything.
You've been a busy bee, and if you're in the Raleigh area, make sure you go check out the arcade because it looks like so much fun.
Yes, so just a little plug in here. It is called Pixels Bar and Arcade. It's located in Roseville, North Carolina. It is a full kitchen, full bar with tons of arcades. It has literally everything. It was so busy today for the grand opening, so it was so good to see everyone look like they were having a great time. So if you're in the area, definitely come check it out. And kids are welcome. All ages are welcome. It does stop at, I think, 8 p.m. is when children are no longer allowed, because then the adults come out to play.
That's fun. I like that. I can't wait to go when I come visit.
Whenever you come visit.
Whenever that is. Sometime this year.
Does that mean that's what you've been booked with? Making plans to come visit?
Your girl has been booked with what? I don't know. All the things. Get my nails done, tennis, doing some shopping, reading some books, freaking stressing about not knowing what the freak is going on in Onyx Storm. I've been booked with that. I've been booked with freaking my book arriving late. What the freak, Amazon?
Dude. That is something we're definitely going to talk about on the Onyx Storm episode because we still are having one. And
Whitley is going to be recording that by herself. She just does not know. No. I told her I'm out.
God, just tell her she will not regret it. But I am never, I repeat, never pre-ordering from Amazon again. I have canceled all my book pre-orders from them and pre-ordered all my books from my local bookstore because fuck Amazon. If you can't get an order that was placed in March of 2024 out on the correct day, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yours came out later than mine, right?
Yeah. But, oh my God, I saw your Instagram story rant and I was like, go off, Whitley. But
I tagged their asses.
I just did not understand why they didn't, if we pre-ordered the book, why you didn't have it ship on Sunday. Since it's 2-day delivery, it would have got here on the day that it came out. Like, who is running the logistics there?
So many people I talked to, they said they ordered it right when it was announced, just like we did. And like one of their friends or whoever ordered it like a week or two ago and it came on the same day. I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Like, fuck your pre-orders. Fuck you all. I kid you not. I literally canceled every pre-order and I went and ordered at my local bookstore that I had on Amazon. Because I said, absolutely not again. And I feel like Onyx Storm is the only book that I'll literally drop everything to read that same day, but it's the whole purpose of it.
Right. Okay, well, what are you currently reading since you just finished Onyx Storm?
It's All the Dangerous Things by Stacey Willingham. And it's so good. So good, so good. It's a thriller and it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I literally just looked and was like, I need a thriller book. And it was like on my, you know how Kindle is like suggested for you or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, this sounds like a book I'll like. And here we are. And it's good. What
Love
about
that.
you?
Well, I'm trying to read freaking Onyx Storm.
Dude,
but
you're going to read it.
TBD. It might be my first DNF.
Dude,
My
there's
first
no way
DNFer.
that's your first DNF. I'll throw every book off my shelf if that's your first DNF. The fact that I've been begging to DNF and you're trying to DNF Onyx Storms, I will fucking murder you.
Yeah, so currently trying to read Onyx Storm, but yeah, TBD on that. But before I started that, I finished The Business Trip by Jessie Garcia, which is a Kindle Unlimited book, and it is a thriller and it is so freaking good. You have to read it. I feel like you'll really like it.
I remember you talking about it. I need to add it to my TBR.
Yes. And there's multiple POVs. I'm not talking 2, I'm not talking 3. There's like a lot. It's so fun. Yeah. And it was just a page turner. It was giving me Frida McFadden vibes and I really liked it. So if you're into that, check that book out. It's The Business Trip by Jessie Garcia. To wrap it up, do you have any current obsessions?
I have been back in my like looking for cute outfits because like I said, I've been doing the pixel stuff. So I've actually had to go out in the world and look cute. And I'm like, oh, my clothes suck. I need more stuff. So I've just I know. And so I'm back in that mode of like looking for cute outfits and then buying cute stuff for Peyton too because she's so fucking cute. and then just reading, dude, I'm so obsessed with reading. Like I just always look for the best vibes when I'm reading, right? Like I don't even know I'm just obsessed with making it so serene and everything. And also, your girl's obsessed with sleep, if I'm being honest. But anyways, what about you?
What am I obsessed with these days? What was I obsessed with last time? I think it was the Dibs Beauty. Now I'm obsessed with another makeup brand. I think it's pronounced Ilia.
Oh, I was just going to tell you about my new Ilia cream bronzer that I got. It's amazing. It slaps. Anyways, keep going.
I'll have to check that out, even though I don't know if I don't think I use that, but I'm obsessed with the mascara.
I didn't like their mascara.
Well, they have 2 different ones.
Oh.
And this one is, I think it's the length one, not the volumizing one. I just am trying not to be a clumpy gal, and I feel like this one like really kind of separates it, but I don't know. You probably can't even tell. It looks like I'm not wearing anything, so. Shut up.
Did you curl them? I know people all have curl their eyelashes. It doesn't even look like I have any, and mine were popping.
Yeah, well, your eyelashes always look good. I'm trying to get mine looking like yours. Like, I like how yours are always super separated and it's not clumpy, but I feel like the more I want to have mine separated, the more clumpy I make them. It's so annoying because I just keep adding more and it's just like, now you look like a clown.
Dude, you got to get the telescopic.
I know you have that one. I have it. I know. I love that one too, but it's just like, I don't know. I just love mascaras. So I love trying different ones. Whatever. So Ilia mascara, that's my obsession. And also obsessed with my little stationery. I got some little notebooks. Well, I wouldn't say notebooks, little notepads, all my pens and pencils, all that stuff. That's about it. In tennis, I started back playing tennis again. So I'm just like in my tennis era again. And I'm just so excited. I feel like myself again.
Feeling free every day. You always inspire me with the stationery or notepads because I still need to go to Target. I looked for like same day from the last time we talked. I looked at the same day things like, in Target app.
Yeah.
That wasn't good. So I was like, I got to go in store.
You got to go in the store. Yeah. Before we dive into all things Butcher and Blackbird, did you freaking see that it is coming to screen?
No. Dude, what the fuck? I know. I wonder if it's people's fascination with like serial killers, like being good people in a sense. Like this book. I don't know if you watched the show Dexter. This book is definitely like Dexter vibes, just with the romance action. And I loved that show. A lot of people love that show. So it's crazy they picked this up because obviously people will have like a weird thing, moral compass with like not just letting a fiction be a fiction.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it, but also like it's not real. So I'm so interested to see how they're going to do this and who they're going to cast.
Same. I've never seen Dexter.
You should watch it.
So,
It's good. It's like a thriller.
is it a show or a movie?
It's a show.
Oh. I didn't really read much about Butcher and Blackbird coming to screen, but I'm wondering if it's going to be a movie or a show. What do you think it would be better as?
Show. I think anything these days is better as a show because they can take their time.
Yeah.
I was talking with one of my friends about this recently. Is the last movie that based on a book that was good was literally like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and those ones. Like, I'm not kidding you. And I know you haven't read those books because you're stupid, but they are literally
Rude.
they're top notch. And Twilight's were trash, but like I still love them.
I love Twilight.
I loved them, but like the movies really were trash if you think about it. But like Harry Potter slaps still to this day. Lord of the Rings slaps still to this day. And like, please tell me of another book that has been a movie that slapped. Movie, not a show. And there hasn't been one.
Not It Ends With Us.
I mean, it was good, but it wasn't the book. Let's be honest. Anyways.
Dude, the drama is way better than the movie. Let me
You're
just
obsessing over that. I'm like, dude, don't send me these fucking videos anymore. I'm done with you. It better be a show, but what do you want it to be?
I would definitely want it to be a show. I think the shows are way better than the movies, like you said. I'm praying, fingers crossed, this is a show and it's done well and it's casted well.
Yes.
Please, nobody F it up. Don't F it up.
Don't ruin it.
That's
what I feel about Verity. Dude, if they ruin that one too, I'll kill everybody. Because I love that book. Don't roll your eyes. That book is so good.
It is. No, I'm just saying, like, I can only imagine. Like, I'm like, the first one, It Ends With Us. You see what we got. So I just, like, I don't have any high hopes for the Colleen Hoover movies at this point. You know,
yeah,
it's about that time. So you already know what to do. Get comfy, get cozy, and let's get started on all things Butcher and Blackbird. I'm so freaking excited. Before we dive into the episode, want to go ahead and let y'all know that this book has a lot of content and trigger warnings, and this episode is going to have some spoilers, and it's going to be a rated R episode, basically. So I don't even know if I want to read all of the trigger warnings, but I'll give you all a preview of some. We have not so accidental cannibalism, bottomized manservant, questionable use of a mummified corpse, eyeballs and eye sockets, detailed sex scenes, which include but are not limited to spinning, choking, praise kink, rough sex, adult toys, genital piercings, and we have amateur surgery, skin ornaments, and I think that is enough of the trigger and content warnings.
Yeah, the trigger warnings make the book sound so much worse than it actually is, but it's not as bad as it seems.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
I love a good serial killer. So not like I don't love them, but I love a good serial killer like story, right? So before we go into our little spoiler zone, you have to hit us with the synopsis of the actual book so we know what it's about, and then it will all make sense and click. So hit us with the good stuff.
Here we go. Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. This is the first book in the Ruinous Love Trilogy. This is a dark romance novel, and it's about two rival serial killers, Salone, or Blackbird, also known as Orb Weaver, who works for a medical company and lives in Raleigh. And then we have Rowan, who's Boston Butcher, also known as Butcher, and he's a chef and a restaurant owner, and he lives in Boston. And they both specialize in killing serial killers. When I hear that out loud, I'm just like, okay, goofy. No. But every year they participate in an annual competition where they race to be the first to kill their targets in different locations. From their first encounter, it's clear there's attraction and maybe a little spark. And as the competition and rivalry continues, it begins to ignite a slow burn romance as their friendship deepens. And ooh, what a time. So if you're into friends to lovers, dark romance, touch her and die, this is the book for you. And even if you aren't into those tropes, I think you'll still very much enjoy this book, because coming from a girl who thought this book wasn't her vibe, it's definitely my vibe.
It literally, like I said, the trigger warnings scare you, but it's so good. Bryn Weaver knows how to write and make it seem like not as bad as it is. Like
Yeah.
there's not too much detail in the gory stuff, but the gory stuff's still there, but it's not too much to where you're like, okay, close book. Like it's like
Right.
just enough for you know what's going on. You can picture it in your head, but she really highlights like the romance, like the personalities of the main characters to like keep you intrigued in the story.
Yeah, and sets the scene. It wasn't overkill.
Yes.
It just like was so well written, flawless. Can we just talk about the audiobook for a second? Because if you read this book, you absolutely must listen to the audiobook.
Rowan's, the actor, I don't know his name, who does Rowan, is top freaking notch. He has that beautiful Irish accent, and it's kind of like a movie, but without the picture, the way they like do the book, because it will be in Rowan's point of view, and then it will be like Sloane sighs, and the actress will sigh, and it's just so immersive and perfect.
It is so perfect. It's honestly, like you said, listening to it, I felt like I was actually watching a movie, which I loved so much. I don't know who the female audio reader is or the male, but they just were so good together. Yes. And it was literally perfection. And like you said, hearing the sighs, how, I don't know, the audio was like interconnected. I don't even know what you would call it, but
I don't know.
It was perfection. And if you don't listen to the audiobook while you read the book, I mean, you probably won't have the same experience, but I would highly recommend it.
Or just do a reread and listen to the audiobook.
Yes, because it's a good time. And honestly, Bryn Weaver's writing style, I freaking love it. It's so good. I just like how she had like the perfect mix of, I don't want to say gory, but just like twisted elements, and also the rom-com banter, and just all of it together was done really, really well. And I just loved it.
I totally agree, dude. It's just so good. Dude, did you know this was her debut novel?
Honestly, I'm not sure, because remember I put this book off for so long? Well, Tegan told me to read it first, and then you got the book and you were like,
yes. And then I was like, dude, you're going to love it. Please read it. And you said, okay, fine. And then.
And now it's my top book of 2024.
Me and Tegan were right.
Yeah, you and Tegan were right. So shout out to Tegan. Yay. Hi, Tegan.
Shout out to Tegan. Woo woo.
Okay, let's just hop right into all things Butcher and Blackbird, because I am so ready to talk about this freaking book and this story and everything. Are you ready?
For the readers, guys, this is where we're going to be talking about the plot highlights, the spoiler zone. This is where, if you haven't read the book, you will know what happens in the book.
Yes.
Which is fun. If you don't want to read it, you can still listen along and know what happens in the book. But if you've read along, let us know what your thoughts are to the plot points, because there's so many good ones.
Like Whitley said, if you haven't read the book and you still kind of want to read it, you should just pause the episode now and go read the book and then come back.
We'll still be here.
Don't
you worry.
Let's go ahead and talk about our two favorite characters, Sloane and Rowan. They're dynamic and very unconventional, how they both got into it, serial killing in the first place. So basically, Sloane got into it because she found out that a professor was sexually assaulting her best friend Lark and took him out.
Fuck you, you're gone.
She also mentioned like how her parents weren't really in the picture, and how Lark and her parents kind of took her in. So Rowan, his dad was abusive, and one day they were just like, oh, we're killing dad. Like, okay.
You're out.
And then, yeah. You are the weakest link.
It's cool to see kind of like they came from somewhat of the same background, but it's different.
Right. And how they both continued down the path, essentially, of just killing. Like, it's just weird to think like they're serial killers and they're killing serial killers, but they themselves are serial killers.
But it's justified. Like so they're justifying in that sense of like they are only, if they need to kill, like they have that itch to kill, they're only going to kill people who deserve to be killed. I think going back to Brim Reaver's writing style is she writes them in a way of where it makes you love them regardless that they're serial killers. You still love Rowan, you still love Sloane, and you're in it for their thing, and you're like, yeah, you kill that bitch.
Okay, so let's set the scene. The book starts out with Sloane locked in a cage with a corpse of a man she killed, and she has been trapped for 3 days, no food, no water, until Rowan shows up, because he too planned to kill this guy Briscoe, and he saves Sloane, lets her out of the cage, invites her to lunch, and he finds out who she is, and he is infatuated with her. As one would be, it's the freaking Orb Weaver, okay? And he invites her to do an annual competition, basically so he can see her again. And so, can we just talk about that first scene of them meeting each other, since they have both heard of each other in passing, obviously, but they've never come face to face. And then hearing about how they're attracted to each other from their POVs.
It's so funny because they're obviously on two ends of the spectrum in this part, because she's literally on the brink of death and she's like, hold a second, like, get me out of this cage, whatever. And he's so cool, calm, collected. And then he's like, oh my God, you're the Orb Weaver. Tell me more. She's literally like dying. And it's just so funny because they're so opposite, but they both are like, oh, he's cute. He's not what I expected. She's hot. She's not what I expected. Let's go to lunch and see what happens here.
Yeah. And I think that's where he gives her the nickname Blackbird too, because where they choose to sit in the restaurant, her hair, and the song that she was singing in the cage.
And her flighty nature.
Yeah. And that's how she became Blackbird.
Mm-hmm. And we all know why he became Butcher, because he is the Boston Butcher, as Shelley said earlier. Yes. Yeah.
And she just was like, Butcher.
Yeah. Hence, Butcher and Blackbird.
Blackbird, yep. And the Orb Weaver is the name that the FBI gave Sloane, and Boston Butcher is what the FBI gave Rowan. And the FBI actually thinks the Orb Weaver is a man. But little do they know. It's also funny because Sloane's specialty is plucking the eyes out.
And she says this in the book, right? She makes the webs beforehand, right?
Yes.
And then so she does her thing. She plucks the eyes out. And she basically puts her web up. She weaves her web, puts the eyes in them. And the eyes and all the other body parts are basically the map to the other killings.
Which is so crazy that they haven't even figured that out. But
I don't know. I think that's crazy, though. That the patience, the amount of time to do that, I can't.
Well, she's an artiste.
I know. So. Yes, and we didn't mention she's an artist, and she actually lost kind of her what's the word, drive or passion to do art. Spark to do the art because of her past. But guess who gives it back to her?
Good old Rowan. So yeah, that was the first kind of the opening of the book. And then we get to chapter 1 and it's a year later. I like how she breaks it up. Like we don't get all the fluff in between of them not seeing each other. And I just am like so thankful for that, because one, the book probably would have been so freaking long, but I like that.
I love that. It's one of the things, like, I hate when books are just fluffed. Like, it's like, dude, don't make me waste my time. Just give me the points, bro. But I want to ask you, what was your initial reactions when it opened up and she's like dying and like there's someone decaying next to her? Like, what were your thoughts? Like, what the fuck am I reading? Or what?
I was like, oh God.
I can just see you now. I'm like, oh shit, we're starting off strong. What the fuck?
I was like, dang, I gotta keep reading. Well, one, I was like, ew. And then
it is a lot of maggot talk. Like, ugh.
Yeah. I was like, ew, crawling. And I'm like, I'm not like scared of bugs or anything, but I was like, ew. You know, like, it's like when I see ants, I get like itchy and I feel like they're crawling all over me.
And I will say that scene, I think, was the most detailed about like the maggots and all the decomposition, all the stuff. Like that's where it was very gory and detailed. Like it starts off real strong and you're like, okay.
It did. But, you know, I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. Whitley says I'm gonna like it. Tegan says I'm gonna like it. And then Rowan shows up and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah. Hello, Rowan.
So like we were saying, it goes to a year later and we're getting into the competition. So we haven't found out about the competition just yet. Salone's actually like in the middle of killing someone and talking to her best friend. And she's like, oh, I haven't heard about the competition yet. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, she gets a text. And then she's on her way to a small town in West Virginia.
The person who chooses the competition or the subject of the competition is Butcher's brother. What is it, Theon or Lachlan?
And he's the older brother.
Yeah. Also, side note, he's a hired assassin, paid assassin, same thing. He's a leather worker, and he is Butcher's older brother, and he is the one who determines who their next kill is for their competitions each year. So he sends them the text, this is where you're going, figure it out.
So they go to that little town in West Virginia. I can't even remember what it's called.
I don't even know, but they're in that rinky-dinky little hotel. Butcher's over here, like, just not doing anything, not knowing what to do. You know, freaking Sloane is out there, like, doing all the work.
Well, no, it was their first time seeing each other in a year since their first encounter. And oh my God, I really loved this scene so much because Salone's already there. Rowan shows up and she's like, I think she's reading her Kindle and he's like, is that pirate porn or something like that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the pirate porn. Yeah.
He was like, I want to read it. And it was so funny. I loved that scene. And she's like, I've moved on to, I think it was like dragon porn or something.
Oh yeah.
It was like, I want to read it.
Storm, hey.
Another thing, they're the only guests staying at that inn. And the owner, he comes and like warns them about trails and stuff like that. He's like, people have gone missing. And they're like, okay, yeah, thanks. And I don't think either of them knows like who they're actually killing. And then I think it's the next day when Salone goes and presses the owner, who is Frances, of this little hotel or whatever. And Rowan's like, where are you going? She goes out and Rowan's like worried about her. And then she all of a sudden is back and she has a little
rendezvous with herself in her hotel room by herself. But guess who hears her is Butcher and also somebody else.
Peeping Tom.
And Butcher caught that little bitch Frances in the act, in between the walls. And Sloane's like, what the fuck? And Butcher's like, what the fuck? And then shit escalates from there.
Yeah, so the rendezvous, if you know, you know. If you don't, you know. She was having a good time with the toy. And
you don't know if it's Play-Doh or what kind of toy it is, guys, but it's a toy.
It's up to your imagination. Yes. It's a toy for grown people, okay?
I don't know why Play-Doh came to mind, but
Salone is freaking out. She's like, oh my God, Butcher, you're spying on me. Were you listening? So they're both chasing after this guy. And Salone's thinking, I'm going to kill him. And Rowan's like, actually, no, I am. Get out the way. And so freaking Rowan beats that man to death. And
God bless. He like goes full on Butcher. Like he goes into his other personality, his other side. That's where he's very nervous that she saw that side of him.
Right, because he's actually fearful that he scared Salone off. And even after he was done, he was like calling out for Salone and she's like hiding off to the side, like,
am I loving this or am I liking this? And she loves this.
I think she was still a little hesitant, but she was like, I feel like I need to be there for him in that moment.
But then I feel like when they leave, when they part from this trip, things are kind of like weird in a sense of like they don't know where each other stands, right? Or am I wrong?
Oh, yeah. So then they go back and she's like cleaning off his wounds and stuff, remember? And I think she kept looking at his scar, and Rowan kind of opened up about that after years of abuse about him and Lachlan. Like they eventually killed their father,
which was their first kill.
Yeah. Then Salone takes the cat with her back to Raleigh, and they part ways. Yeah.
Thank God for the cat. And let's just do a side note, guys, that Sloan is literally in Raleigh, which is where I live. So it was really cool in the book that when she's talking about like RDU and these certain places and going to the airport, I'm like, I literally can picture this perfectly because I've been there so many times.
Okay, and then so they part ways, and then that's when Sloan makes an impromptu visit to Boston to see freaking Rowan. And she goes to his restaurant.
Yeah, because Lark, her best friend, basically said, what the fuck are you doing? What are you waiting for? Just fucking do it. And this bitch says, you're right. I'm fucking flying to Boston. Shows up his little restaurant.
Dude, I just want to say I love Lark.
Me too. Which is so exciting for the next book, but that's to come.
Yeah. So Sloan, she's at the restaurant. And she is already like, oh my God, why did I come here? I need to leave. And then the server comes and she's like, oh, too late. Gotta stay. And then Lachlan and a group of friends come in and she like locks eyes with Lachlan and she's like, I gotta get out of here. And then Rowan comes and he's like, Sloan? And then Sloan was like, oh shoot.
And she was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Why the fuck am I here? Goes introvert mode. Been there a million times. Like, I had a bad decision. And then fucking Butcher's like, cool, calm and collected. Hey girl, what you doing here? Hello, sit down, let me make you food. Yes, let's go.
She's like, I'm here for a work meeting, I gotta go. He's like, oh.
Bitch.
And then this one girl, Anna, she comes in. And I think that's what like kind of makes Sloan a little more like apprehensive, is because the Anna girl walks up, gives Rowan a hug, and I don't know if Sloan maybe thought something was going on there.
It did give that vibe in the beginning.
Yeah, I
think so.
But
then it slowly changed.
Yeah, so that happened, and she leaves, and Rowan's like, oh, I wish you would have stayed. And she's like, I gotta go.
I gotta do work. And then, like,
meanwhile, she's lying.
Fucking lying. And then she goes, like, what a stupid trip. Like, but
seriously.
Then, what happens with the Raven? Wasn't there a Raven? How did that come into play?
When she was at the table, which, oh my God. So the table that she was at is her table. Like, it's reserved for her. And she was sketching a raven on a piece of paper and she left it there and Rowan kept it.
Love it. That comes into play later, guys. So
yeah,
if you know, you know.
Right. And so that happened. And then guess what? Rowan goes to Raleigh.
Our favorite part.
And he buys groceries and pays a kid to deliver them to Sloan. And she's like, what? And she's like pressing the kid about it. He's not saying anything. And she's like, okay. And so then she calls Rowan and she's like, did you get me groceries? And he's like, we're going to cook together. Meanwhile, he's like across the street of her place and
telling her what to do, like how to cook it. And like just so the cute intimacy of it all, of like them, like it literally felt like they were cooking together. It was so cute.
It was so cute. It was like they weren't cooking together over the phone. It was like they were actually with each other.
And this happens multiple times.
Yes.
Like, I feel like it goes on for a little bit.
I know he paid the kid for two or 3 days, and then he had to fly back. Because I remember the last day she was like peeping out of her door and nothing. And he was like, I gotta go.
Oh, yeah. And it was so sad. And he didn't even see her when he was in Raleigh, which is so fucking annoying.
I know, but that was so cute.
It was cute. And then the real stuff happens.
Seriously. Oh my God. So then we are back to another competition, and this time they're in California.
This is where trigger warning to all your people. This is the cannibalism part. This Thorsten guy is a real piece of motherfucking work. Hit us with the good stuff.
Okay, so there's this Thorsten guy. Stallone is, I think they're at a bar or something.
No, I thought it was like a really nice restaurant. Either way.
They were somewhere, and Rowan just like shows up and disturbs what Stallone has going on, of course, and just like sneaks his way in. And Thorsten invites him to their house the next evening for dinner. And the dinner.
This dinner. Fucking
dinner.
Let's just set the scene. it basically starts, Rowan's getting all crazy, drinking the drink, feeling like he's got this shit in the bag, right? And he doesn't realize that Sloane knows that this guy is the bad guy, the guy they're supposed to be hunting. Yes, their target. This guy she knows him for a cannibal and for being weird. And Rowan just thinks this is another day at the freaking playground. Like, he is drinking, having a good time, eating all the food. Little does he know that he is eating like humans, and he gets ice cream, and he didn't know he doesn't eat the ice cream. Yes, he does. Does he eat the ice cream?
Dude. Yes.
Yes, he got semen somehow.
Oh yeah, he did. But oh my god, remember when Sloane was like, did you know it was a rump roast? I tortured Thurston until he told me I had to dig human ass out of your mouth. I
was gonna say, I thought it was like a butt or a penis or something gross. Dude. And like, she's watching him just divulge in all this shit.
Eating it.
Thorson's like, oh, this guy's a fucktard. I got them in the bag. Yeah. And she's like, oh, fuck no.
And he is he's
wasted. Wasted. Yeah.
Because what, the wine was laced.
Some blood. And I think it had blood in it too, dude.
Dude, I don't even know. That was But he's like basically confessing, like, Sloane is the only one that I have eyes for, like, Sloane this. And then next thing you know, dude's passed out. Clonk.
Dude, ow. And that's when Thorson's trying to fucking kill him, and then basically Sloane says, get the fuck out of here, bitch.
Yeah, she was
We're
like,
about to weave your fucking eyes. Yeah. Hell to the no.
She's like, it's time to play.
And
let the fun begin.
Little do we know that there's a little character, David, his servant, who doesn't speak. Well, at this time he doesn't speak, but he is there, just there on the sidelines, acting like he has no idea what's going on in some weird little way. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah. So, and David, he was eating too. He was eating too.
He was loving the semen mint chocolate chip ice cream. Just say, there was literally semen in the mint chocolate chip ice cream, and he was scarfing that shit down.
No, I'm not over that.
Thank God I don't really care about mint chocolate chip ice cream.
I don't like mint chocolate chip anything, so I was not traumatized by that, but I was just like, ugh.
Glad she picked that flavor, not like Rocky Rose or some brownie chocolate shit.
or cookies and cream. Yeah. I would have been upset. So... freaking Rowan finally wakes up. He's throwing up all his
human
gross, human decay, body parts. I don't know, everything. And he's just like, oh my God. And then we have Thorsten on the table get his
fucking
eyes
killed.
Yeah. And then Sloane's like, well, you got to take David with you back to Boston. And he's like, what?
Because we didn't say this earlier, but they thought he was lobotomized.
Yeah.
So they didn't think he had a chance of survival by himself. So then they're like, oh, you got to take him back.
Rowan's like, okay, if I do this, I get something out of it. So, and that's what happens. 8 months later, Rowan's like, Sloane, I need you to come to Boston to come with me to a gala. And he's like, we can have some fun. And she's like, oh.
Fun.
But
two different ideas of fun. And they hadn't really been talking a lot since Thorsten because he's opening a new restaurant. Mm-hmm. So it's been kind of like not weird, but distant. So it was like, you know, I feel like Sloane in her eyes, she's ready for a good night, just letting loose, having some sex, living her best life. But then Butcher's over here like having a good night. Let's go kill a motherfucker. Yeah. Let loose in another way, bro. Not that he wouldn't let loose in the other way, but I don't think he got what she was putting down.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Sloane was already in her head about like she has always felt like she's unlovable and that she has like all these mixed emotions. Like she's always in her head and she's like, okay, let me just try. And this was her trying. And then her and Rowan were kind of on two different pages. So
it was sad.
I think, she was kind of disappointed because she more so thought it was like a date and not they were there to kill someone.
Yeah. I think doesn't he ask to rush away because something's happening at the restaurant, of course. And then she's like, he was like, oh, we can go, kill whatever his name is. There was like the doctor at the gala.
Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was like, no, like, you go do your thing, like, I'll go, like, whatever. She goes back to the hotel room, like, sad or whatever. Right?
Oh, there was a fire, and he was like, oh, I gotta go take care of this. And I'm like, can't you just have somebody else take care of it? Like, where's your kitchen manager?
I mean, what are you doing, bro? Like, she's here.
Like,
she's
yeah.
always here. What the fuck?
Seriously.
Guys are so stupid.
That was kind of annoying, but so Salone leaves. They have another competition. Go to Texas, and this is the chainsaw guy.
Oh my God. And shit goes down.
Seriously. Oh my God. This one had me like, what
Stressed.
the? Seriously. Especially, okay, so they go to this house and they hear a chainsaw. And I think Rowan goes in the back. She goes in the front. She's checking the rooms. She comes across a corpse and it's the mom.
The mom's just chilling in the front room, still dead, hanging out, watching that TV every day. And her death. Like, what the fuck, dude? People are crazy.
I know. So freaking weird. So Salone's going through all the rooms, and she comes in a room with all the videos of the security system so she can see what's happening. And she sees that the chainsaw guy, Harvey, is going after Rowan. And so she's like running out of the room to tell him. And lo and behold, she runs into the freaking chainsaw guy. And I'm like, how the heck did that even freaking happen?
But she should have known. He watched her come in, look at his mom and all this shit. Like,
right.
Come on, girl. This is your job. You know this shit. You think this way.
Oh, I was just like, no. Because he freaking grabbed her ass up. Freaking pushed her down a hill, or he kicked her down a hill. She freaking broke her arm or dislocated her arm. And then he starts dragging her by her hair. And I think he stomped on her face, and he put her in a cellar with some other chick named Autumn who's like screaming. Yeah. And then thank God she still had her cell phone on her because she like texted Rowan like, oh, I'm in the cellar. And of course, Rowan comes in and says, I'm dead.
And then shit gets crazy because Rowan saves her and saves Autumn, right? Autumn runs away like a crazy.
I don't even know how she got out of the cellar because Rowan was like, stay here, be quiet, we'll come back for you. And she was like, she was like, heck no, I'm out of here, bro.
Out of this crazy place.
Oh, when he gets her out of the cellar, that's when they have their first kiss before he goes to kill the chainsaw guy. And I was like, because he's like, oh my God, I almost lost you. What the heck? Like, let's have a makeout session.
And it was just so great in the middle of killing.
Right. The timing.
Really just like sparks the mood for their next little rendezvous.
Freaking, and that is so hilarious because, of course, Rowan tracks Chainsaw Guy down, and Salone is like, I'm going to play with this guy because he just smashed my face
and hurt my arm up. So, and what does he get?
She goes and gets the freaking dead corpse of his mother and is pretending to be the mom while touching Harvey.
And Harvey believes it. She's literally like acting like the mom and saying, you, whatever. I don't even remember what the mom said.
You are so dirty. Like all this stuff.
And he's like, no, mom.
Freaking had a heart attack and died.
He literally, they didn't even kill him. He killed himself. Acting of his mom literally killed him. That's insane.
That's what
I love it for being a bitch.
Right. And so
that's how they have to go to Fiona's house because of her arm. She needs help. He's a doctor. So they basically drive through the night, right, to Nebraska. I don't even know. Isn't this in Texas? So it's far. And she's like in and out of consciousness, like tired, whatever. And then they finally get to his house.
They did take a rest stop because she had to use the restroom, and he got her like a hat and sunglasses because she had like the Carhartt brand on her forehead.
Yes, from his shoe.
Yeah. And then they do finally get to Nebraska and get to Fiona's house, and they get inside, and Rose is there, who's Fiona's roommate, and she's like, who the F are you?
It's just crazy,
guys. And then she's like freaking out. She's like, did he do that to you?
She's like literally 10 out of 10 the moment they walk in the door, and you're just like, oh shit. Like, what's going on here?
Hands up. Do you remember, he was like, I'm Fiona's brother, and she was like, prove it. So she called Fiona and was like, is this guy your brother? And he was like, ask him what his nickname was.
Shit flicker.
That is just so crazy. I don't even think he ever said like how he got the nickname though.
I was gonna say I can't think of it, so I
remember
probably
that.
I don't
Yeah.
think if they did, like, we are failing in that aspect.
But that was so funny, and
it just adds to their personality as like a family or like brothers and stuff.
yeah. Okay, so this is another important part of the book because this is when it actually goes down.
Finally,
Because
the tension is tight, high, it's thick, it's there.
oh wait,
The
before that,
cards.
remember
The cards.
Yes,
because Rose is very much into like her little psychic reads tarot cards, and that's where she basically reads their cards, right?
yeah. I think she read Rowan's, and she warns him that chaos, change, and pain will occur soon. And he's like, I don't believe in that stuff.
Yeah, but oh shit, what kind of knowledge, what kind of pain, what kind of chaos, and little does he know, we already know.
Yeah.
But
So
we don't
that
know
was-
as readers, but now we know.
Yeah, that was a big thing. And then, okay, let's get back to the
Shower
Sick.
scene.
the bath.
Wait,
Bath?
okay, can I just say that this kind of reminds me in a way of the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days shower scene? Please tell me you've seen that fucking movie.
Of course I've seen that movie, but it's
Okay.
been a while and I don't
Did-
remember.
Where they basically go back to his family's house and they do the game bullshit with the card game, and then they go on the motorcycle, and like she gets water, and she basically comes back and he's like helping her getting her shit for the shower, like basically here's your towel, here's the shower, whatever, and then they get all serious, and then she looks at him, he looks at her, and then they like basically take a shower. But it kind of reminds me of this. Dude, how do you not remember that?
Dude, I do not remember.
Dude, that's such a big turning point of the movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
You
Okay,
need
but
to
now I'm gonna watch
rewatch.
it. Yeah, I love that movie though because she's like, "Do you think I'm some kind of crazy person?"
Yes. You would love that part, you fucking psycho. You
Um,
let our baby first.
Is this how you're gonna let us die? Well, let's go to the bath scene between Rowan and Salome because heat it up, heat it up, heat it up, bait it up, bait it up.
This is where not only Rowan, but we find out how many motherfucking piercings Sloane has. And let me
Seriously,
just tell you, I had to think about where the fuck she got shit pierced. Ow.
I was like, wait, what?
There's a lot of piercings down there.
Like, I don't think I've heard of that one before.
Dude, there was a piece of the vagina I didn't even know.
Exactly.
So she got that shit pierced all over. I think she's got like her nipples, all these fucking things. I'm sure her navel. I can't remember.
She has belly button, nipples, clit, labia, and a forchetta piercing.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is. Are you about to Google it? You're about to get some pictures.
I'm scared. That's the one where I was like, what? It goes through the rear rim of the vulva where the inner labia meet.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Wait, I gotta see. Hold on, wait.
Absolutely not.
Oh, God. Dude, this bitch, ow.
Imagine that getting infected. Oh my god.
Dude, absolutely not. Anyways,
No.
yeah, I didn't know that was a fucking thing.
Me either. But anyways, Rowan is just like, get out of the bathtub.
It's
Get
time to
out.
fucking do the dirty.
Yeah. This is where some of my favorite quotes actually come into play, but I'll talk about those later. But oh my gosh, Rowan was getting nerdy. He's got a mouth on him.
Oh my God, some of the things I said, okay, hold the fuck up. Let me process this, please. But basically, they're like finally revealing their feelings to each other and not just themselves. And then they're like, oh, fuck yeah, let's get fucking crazy. And they go full force. They're freaking fucking their life away.
Rounds and rounds, pounds and pounds. Like, Rowan
Dude.
falls asleep with his ween inside Salone. I'm just like,
Dude. And this is where she finally sees that, if you guys remember, we talked about it earlier, the raven that she drew when she did that impromptu trip to Boston and she left it on the table. He got that shit tattooed on his back and she finds it.
Did.
Oh,
So
it's
freaking
just
cute.
so cute.
But also during that time, I don't know if it was, I think it was before they had sex, they kind of finally talked about their feelings. And so I'll just go ahead and throw in one of my favorite quotes. He goes, "I'm done running around this, Sloan. I've wanted you for 4 years and you're going to show me what I've been missing." So it was definitely before they had sex.
Yes.
And I was like, okay.
Let's fucking do this, bro.
Yeah, it was so good. And I'm like so glad that they finally talked about their feelings and got that out. And another one of my favorite quotes, I'm just going to go ahead and say it because it was before the sex scene. He goes, "I would kill for you, and I have. I would do it again every damn day. I'd turn myself inside out for you. I would die for you. I don't just like you, Salone, and you fucking know it." And I was like, yeah.
Yes. Yes, please. Keep going.
Yes. And so that happens. They finally do the deed. They wake up the next morning and Salone's like, "Oh my God, sorry for being so loud, Rose." And she's like, "Girl, I was a part of a circus. That didn't bother me." And then Fionn comes down and he looks so tired. And
it's basically like, "You guys kept me up all fucking night."
Right. And he was like, "Salone, you're supposed to be taking it slow, like no rigorous activity." And Rowan's just like, "We weren't playing sports. We were having sex." Like,
I love that shit. I love that shit.
Fiona is like, "Okay, well, Salone, you can't take care of yourself." And she's like, "Oh, Lark will handle it." And like, Rowan's like, "No, you're going to come back with me to Boston." And I was like, she's going to come back with you to Boston.
Finally!
And so Salone goes to Boston, and then she's just like moving to Boston all of a sudden. And I was like, okay, I'm here for this. Yeah, that girl's moving to Boston.
Finally, bro.
Yeah, Salone and the kitty are moving to Boston. Lark is in town visiting. Rowan takes Salone to the new restaurant, and she sees that the name of the new restaurant is Butcher and Blackbird, which is so freaking cute.
Which we just love so much because the police are idiots at this point. Let's be honest.
Seriously. I'm like, the FBI? Like, what are you doing? So he takes her inside the restaurant and he has raven decorations to honor Salone. And then they go into the kitchen and they cook
together, real life this time.
And this is like when they tell each other that they love each other.
Oh, yes. And then they fuck it up in the restaurant. And I'm not talking about the other stuff. I'm talking about really fucking
on the table where people can see inside. I think she was like, oh, because didn't he tell her, he was like, go on the table, go out there and get on your table or something like that.
Yes.
She wasn't doing it when he came out and he's like, didn't I tell you to get on the table? She's like, there is a woman. He's like, I don't care who sees. Like, this is my restaurant. And I was like, okay, Rowan, sign me up.
Sign me up.
So that happens, and then I think we're getting to the nitty gritty kind of end of the book.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Because then they're just like being crazy. Like he's super busy at the restaurant. Sloane kind of feels like she's by herself.
A burden, almost.
Yeah, she's like a burden. She's kind of like just there in a sense.
He definitely doesn't want her to feel that way. But he's like, oh, I'm running 2 restaurants. I have you here now. He's like worried because he's not spending as much time with her because he's so busy. But then they haven't really done any kind of killing. And I remember he said something to her and she was just like, oh, I'm going to go. And he's like, okay, let's meet up later. And that's where she was like feeling like, oh my God.
What did I do? I need to go back to
like she was having that feeling of being a burden, basically.
Yeah.
And so that's when he was like, okay, let's meet up at the restaurant later, because he had to go and attend to an issue, of course. I'm like, dang, your restaurant's got a lot. You need to get that under control.
Yeah. Where's your manager? Fuck.
Seriously. So he goes to 3 and Coach to attend to a problem. David's there and he's like, oh, you're still here? And then so he's like putting some tools back, and then he turns around, boom, gun to your head.
David's not a fucking silent bitch. He's a talker. He's a fucking crazy bitch.
Yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. So meanwhile, freaking Salone is supposed to come meet him at the restaurant.
Yes. And basically David makes him like break up with her without her knowing that David's there, and basically saying, get out of my life. Like, he doesn't say that exactly, but basically breaking up with her. And she goes home, or she leaves so upset. Like, what?
Can we just talk about that scene really quick?
Dude, I almost died.
So freaking sad. Because after that happened, I was like, oh my God, how is this book going to end? Like, I was like, oh my God, there's no way.
Yeah, that David's here. Like, what are we doing? Because Salone's fucking smart, of course. She figures out, she remembers, like, their secret camera. She's like, this is not what Rowan would do. He would not say these things to me. I don't think he would do this to me. Something's off.
She, like, called Lark and was like, oh my God, he just broke up with me. And Lark is just like, okay, maybe he's just, like, done. Maybe he's just overwhelmed. Like, but Salone kept saying, but he kept talking weird things, and she was like, he's probably under a lot of stress, and Salone's just like, no, like, it's something else. And then that ties into she kind of figures out, like,
he was kind of trying to tell her. Yeah. He was trying to tell her, like, oh, do this, you know, like hints, right? Little hints, like things aren't really as they seem. And she finds that secret camera, and
thank God she had put the secret camera in there. I remember reading, like, before that she had put that in there, I think. And I was like, oh, just thank God that she did that. Yeah. And oh my God, remember when David had freaking Rowan restrained and was cutting his skin off?
David's a freak, bro.
And freaking eating it.
He's so freaky.
And he was trying to get Rowan to eat it.
And he's just something obviously is clearly wrong with him. But this is where we find out that he's like super crushing on Sloane and like obsessed with her.
Because she saved him from Thorsten's and was like, oh, give him a chance. Little did we know he's a freaking freakazoid.
A freakazoid. And then, but thank God Sloane's peers.
Wait, because you're right. But I'm just like, oh my God. One of my favorite parts, David put the gun down and Salone like snuck in and grabs the gun, and David is like feeling for it, and that's when like Salone pops in and she's like, oh, this is when she mentions like, oh, David, you didn't shut off all the video feeds, and she like points to the Glock to the camera, her camera, and she's like, the red light is still on. She's like, that one is mine, and I've been watching the whole time. David's smile falls when he realizes that, and she was like I said, if I wanted to, I would. And then she points the muzzle to his forehead, and he stiffens, and she goes, pow, pow, pow. That was my favorite part. Yes. And then she's like, just kidding. I was dying. The audiobook person, whatever, she just did it so good. She's like, pow, pow, pow. And she's like, just kidding. It's probably like one of my favorite parts in the book too. I was like dying laughing because
that was really good.
Oh my God. So that happens, and basically Salone saves the freaking day. She saves her man. Just like he saved her, she saves him. He pretends to be on David's side, and then she ends up stabbing him. And then they make up. She was just like, oh my God, I can't believe you. He's like, I had to get you out of there. Like, you're not unlovable. I love you. And then Lachlan and his crew, like, clean it up. Yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
There's people that come to clean him up. And then basically that's kind of like, not like the ending, because like obviously They go and get their cute little tattoos to cover up the scars.
And Salome, she's the one that drew it and everything. And it's a surprise. And once Rowan sees it, he sees that it has color. And Salome, she hasn't used color in her art for a very long time. We didn't even talk about like how Salome got into killing, really, either. Oops. So Salome got into killing because her best friend Lark was being sexually assaulted by one of their professors, and she freaking killed him. Added color to her art again, thanks to Rowan, and so they have one last killing. Yeah, the doctor from the gala, and oh my God, this was just so cute. So there was a piece of paper in the doctor's eye socket and another thing in there. She takes it out, reads it. It's the note of their first annual competition.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait, give that back to me. I have to add something. And so then he adds something and he's like, get the other thing out. And so she's reading it and it says, marry me or something on it.
So
and
cute.
then she's like taking the ring out and she was like, did you just propose to me? Out of somebody's eye socket? And he's like, oh my God. He's like, is it bad? And that was so cute.
I know. I love that.
Of course she said yes.
Oh, thank God. Just kidding.
And
we already knew they would.
Yeah. And then the bonus chapter, they get married.
Dude, and then the one after with the freaking foreshadowing of the freak.
Oh, yeah. I didn't. Oh, so before the bonus chapter.
So basically, someone's point of view that we don't really know, but I think it's going to be someone who is the villain of the next book, who basically is talking about how he's been following Rowan and Sloane, and they're doing bad things, and he's about to basically fuck their life up. So it leaves us in an empty, like, what the fuck?
But it's the sibling of someone that Rowan killed.
Yes.
Yes, but this person wants to actually kill Lachlan, not Rowan.
Because it's his brother.
Yeah, because they killed their sibling. He's like, oh, I'm going to kill your sibling. So that's how the freaking book wraps up. But that was a lot.
So that was the book. And by God, we made it because that shit was a ride. But let's talk about our personal takeaways and let's go over some questions just so we can kind of just do a little book club with me and you. So your overall impressions. Tell me, I'm sure we all know, did this book meet your expectations?
Abso-freaking-lit. Well, honestly, I had no clue what I was getting myself into when I first started this book. As you know, I usually go into my books blind as a bat. And when I first started, I was like, what the heck am I reading? But oh my gosh, this is, like I said, it was my top book of 2024. Like, I did not think I was going to love it so much, but I think, you know, what really made me love it was the audiobook was just so good.
I agree.
Loved the writing. And also, it was just like the perfect mix of a twisted rom-com, and the banter was so good. And I just like how the spice didn't overtake away from the story or anything like that. It was just all done really well. So 10 out of 10, 1,000 out of 1,000. What about you?
I feel like I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't expect like the rom-com version of it. I obviously like knew about the two serial killers falling in love, but it's like the banter made the book, the audiobook made the book, the writing, she's really good at just like keeping it flowing and like not diving too much into the details that you're just like, all right, let's go. And also I agree with the thing. There's some books, or I agree with what you say about like overkill on like the sexual stuff, right? Because like there were still plot points that needed to be hit. And, like, they obviously loved each other, but some books are so sex-heavy that I'm like, dude, oh, fucking K, they've had sex 1,000 times. Like, let's get to the fucking real shit.
Right.
So I really did love that. They really only had, like, sex those two main times. Like, I'm sure there was, like, but it was, like, thank God it wasn't just a full book of sex. Not that I hate that, but so we have to have a story, right? We need a story. It can't just be fucking porn. I mean, it can, but you know what I'm saying.
But still have a little bit of meat behind it. A little, some storyline. I don't know. I don't know. Some meat behind it. Get it?
Whoa. Yeah, I love this book. I also gave it 5 stars. It was one of my top reads. And I'm actually shocked I haven't read Leather and Lark yet, but I'm excited to read that because the third book of this series comes out soon. I think it's coming out on February 11th, so I am going to read Leather and Lark here shortly so we can dive into that. And this book was everything.
It was. And I'm just wondering if I'm going to like Leather and Lark more than I like Butcher and Blackbird. And I'm like, there's no way.
I will say that so many people have said that Leather and Lark is not as good as Butcher and Blackbird. Just saying. But
I feel like that's always the case when you have a series. The first book is always that like, ooh. But who knows? But do you have any favorite scenes or moments from the book?
My 100% my favorite moment was when he makes the kid buy the groceries and deliver it, and they basically cook together over the phone. Like, that's just so thoughtful and cute and just everything and more. So that definitely was one of my favorites. And then I think, like I said earlier, the bath scene was so good. Just reminds me of that How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days scene. It just finally like clicks that they actually care about each other and they're there. And then everything's great. But what about you?
Those are some great scenes. Mine was definitely when Rowan was sloshed at the dinner at Thorsten's and was basically like confessing his love for Salome and like, oh my God, she's so beautiful, blah, blah, blah.
I love it.
Then another one is obviously same when they cook together over the phone. That just melted my heart. I was like, this is so cute.
Literally.
And then those were like my 2 main favorite ones. I did like the tub scene as well. I was like, oh, okay, we're getting some action. And I'm not mad at it.
Yep.
Yeah. And the restaurant scene was cute too when he took her to Butcher and Blackbird. I liked that as well. So those are just a couple.
So we all know you're a quote girly, so tell us, what are your favorite quotes from the book?
Oh my God, I have so many, but you know, I love "You'll love me one day," and she's just like, "Get fucked, Butcher."
I love it all. I love it all.
I freaking love it. I just love when she's always like, "Get fucked," and then when she calls him pretty boy and she's like, "Cat got your tongue, pretty boy. Didn't think I'd see the day." And then, when she said, "I'm 100% positive that I hate you." And he says, "And I'm 100% positive you'll love me one day."
Oh, I love Rowan so much.
I know, me too. Then, when he was like, this is when she left from Boston and he texted her and he's said, "I wish you would have stayed, Blackbird. I would have taken you back into the kitchen. We could have made something together." And she says, "You were busy. I was intruding." And he goes, "I would have made time for you. And then he goes, "You're my friend. Maybe someday my best friend." And I was just like, you.
I love him.
Yeah.
I literally love him.
Like, me too. And then the rump roast comment that I made earlier. And that was so funny.
I'm dead.
So those are just a couple of my favorite quotes. Is there anything you didn't like about the book or anything you would change?
Honestly, no. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I couldn't have seen it been done any better. What about you? I assume you're feeling the same.
Obviously, it was perfection, but I did want to know a little more. I feel like we got a lot more about Rowan and his kind of like family trauma and stuff, but we really didn't see a lot of Salone's and the specifics of that. So that's just like one thing I would have liked a little more.
Yeah. I'm wondering if we're going to get more of that in Leather and Lark, because it will bring in Lark's whatever, right? And how they became best friends. So I wonder if maybe that's where we'll get it. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Me either. But honestly, the book was perfection. Wouldn't change a thing. Loved it. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100, 1,000 out of 1,000. I'll read it again and again and again and again.
I mean, yeah, I can't wait for that. Now I'm like, even doing this episode makes me so excited to read Leather and Lark.
Yeah, same.
Truly.
Well, I think we've yapped and yapped and yapped about this book. I think that's a freaking yap and a wrap on this one.
Dude, we yapped the fuck out of this one.
Seriously.
This was a good episode. I really enjoyed this. I love this book. I hope you guys loved it too. And I hope you love this episode. Our next episode is what?
Freaking Onyx Storm that Whitley's going to do by herself because, you know, I'm going to DNF that book.
No, she's not. I swear to God, if she DNFs this, I'm out.
That's a wrap on the episode. We hope y'all enjoyed it. If you're not already, make sure you're following Today is Booked on Instagram and TikTok. And make sure you're following Whitley at books.with.wit. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the pod. Oh yeah, leave us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. You know, do all the things.
Help your girls out.
I mean, we would yap even if y'all didn't do it, but... But yeah, Whitley will be back soon talking about Onyx Storm. So she'll see y'all in the next episode. I'll be on here hosting.
Dude, I'll do it. I can't with you. I can't with you.
We'll see y'all on the next episode. Remember,
today is booked.
And tomorrow isn't looking good either.